And hello, everybody. We are finally live. I'm so sorry for the delays. Of course, I have been testing it today, but we had some technical difficulties and I couldn't get the camera working on my end. So, apologies for starting a little bit later. How are we all? I hope you've had a wonderful weekend and have really enjoyed your Sunday. Um, where are you all? Do you want to tell me? I'm here in Sydney, as I presume a lot of you are, and I'd love to know where the rest of you are. I can see a few people joining. Hi, Scylla. Hi, Stacey. How are you today? That's great. Okay. Now I may start anyway, and as people join in, we can keep the ball rolling. Now, okay, this session will go for 30 minutes and I'll try my best to keep it to that time, and I'd love for it to be interactive, so I'll keep an eye out for comments. Feel free to comment, ask questions, join in, and share this live feed to anyone, any friends and family that you think might be interested as well. So, a quick introduction. My name is Vanessa Dadley, and I am a coach and a hypnotherapist. So, I'm not the coach that you'll find on a sporting field. I'm actually the sort of coach that helps people. So, I help adults and teens and also workplaces to develop better ways of thinking and healthier habits, and to let go of stuff and to achieve goals and lead a more productive and healthy life. There's lots of other stuff that I do as well, but that pretty much captures it in a nutshell. I am so delighted to be joining the family at Body Awakenings Gaimea from next week. And you can hop on their Facebook page from Monday, from tomorrow, where I'll be posting a special offer to celebrate this event. For those of you that don't live or can't get to me in Sydney South in Gaimea, I also still consult online and by phone. So there are lots of options for reaching me. Now, you don't need to take any notes if you don't want to. I've actually written a blog that I'll be posting on my website and on the Body Awakenings Facebook page, as well as my Facebook. Now, to find my details, you can go to the Body Awakenings website and look up under therapies. All my details there: Facebook, Insta, website. My website's pretty easy: vanessadadley.com.au. So Vanessa, dadley.com.au. So let's get started. And I've got some notes here because there's so much information I want to share with you and I don't really want to miss anything. So I will have a look at notes from now and again. Now, okay, we're here to discuss decluttering your mind to reduce stress. So, stress, overwhelm, having too much to do, having too much on our plate, that seems to be a real modern day problem. And a lot of us seem to think it's just part and parcel of our lives. And we're so stressed that a lot of us wake up in the mornings, and before our feet even touch the ground, before we've even gotten out of bed, our mind's churning, and we've got all these things that we're thinking about for the day and for the week. And it's enough to make you want to crawl under the covers and go back to sleep. In my life, I'll give you just a quick introduction of what my life is like. I've got three kids between the age of 13 and 6. I've got a husband who works a lot. I work too. We've got two pets. We've got a rabbit and we've got a new puppy just a couple of weeks ago. What the hell were we thinking? No, just kidding. She's absolutely gorgeous, but you have to watch her every like 30 seconds so she's not, um, you know, wetting the floor. Anyway, so there is a lot going on. Now, pre-corona, life was like for many of you, a lot of rushing around, a lot of juggling, a lot of balls in the air, driving here, driving there, appointments, work, housework, And since we've had the downtime post Corona now, we seem to have exchanged some problems, I think, because now we're all under the one roof and we're all trying to work and homeschool. Some of us are homeschooling at the same time. And, we're also dealing with social distancing, isolation, and some issues that can arise from feeling alone. But the opportunity that we can get from all this negativity is that it gives us the perspective to look at our lives from a different angle, really. And as things slowly, I think, I mean, every day things are changing and evolving, and as things are slowly progressing to our normal way of life. I don't know if we will go back to our old normal way of life, but our new normal way of life, we can decide. We have the opportunity to decide what we want to keep and what we want to discard that was really not benefiting us at all. So, decluttering the mind, just like we probably, a lot of us probably decluttered our houses over this period of time, is really a wonderful thing to be doing. So, hi to everyone. As you're joining me, I can see a few more people pop up there. It's really lovely to have you this evening. I hope you're all well, and thank you so much for joining me. So, why are we mentally overloaded? Right, studies have been done that show that at any given day we have about 50,000 thoughts running through our head. That's, gosh, 50,000. That's about 2,100 thoughts per hour. That's just ridiculous, isn't it? Now, our minds obviously are not capable of processing all of that, and our short-term memories in particular are only really capable of processing what we call like chunks of information, and that chunks can vary from person to person, in terms of capacity. So our minds usually process roughly about 7, give or take, plus or minus 2. So I mean, at the most, if we have like 9 balls in the air at any given time, that's still a lot of stuff to be processing. So I'm going to ask you a question, and please join in. Can Hopefully I'll see some comments coming through, but I just want to know, how do you know when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed? Can you actually describe this process to me, or what it is that you're sort of feeling? Feel free just to type, join in. Yeah, yeah. So how do you know? I'll give a few of my sort of ways that I know that I'm feeling stressed. I get really cranky and irritable. I get a bit snappy, not able to relax, breathing, shallow breathing, and I used to have this tendency of just holding my breath, poor concentration and bad sleep, and also maybe reaching for that glass of wine every now and again. Okay, think of our minds like a computer. The computer is not going to work well, and it's not going to be able to do all the good stuff that you want to do on it if you don't declutter, clear the memory, and empty out that recycle bin every now and again. So our minds are exactly the same thing. So what can we do to reduce our mental load? Right. The first thing we can do is awareness. We can be aware of stress and feelings. Like, now that we've mentioned some of the feelings that we have, we can be aware of watching signs for when we are feeling stressed. And you can ask yourself, what can you sort of do instead? Now, it's important to realize that stress is actually a process, and it's something that we're actually doing. You are not the stress is not you. So you're actually doing stress, and if you're doing stress, then you can actually not do stress as well. And you have the choice. And what can you do instead? So I'm here to run you through some tips and some ways that hopefully will help you. Now, breathing, something that we do every day and up to about 30,000 times a day, believe it or not. But how effectively are we breathing? Effective breathing has the most amazing ability to bring down your stress levels. Now, I'm going to give you some psychology 101 here. So, a quick introduction to how the central nervous system works. So, we have two parts to our central nervous system: the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, the sympathetic is responsible for elevating your stress levels. Now, think sympathetic, S for stress. That's how I remember it. And that's also responsible for the fight or flight response that we have, that's been around, in our makeup, our DNA, really since we were cavemen and we had to run away from a tiger that was wanting to have us for dinner. Now, This stress response produces a hormone, a steroid hormone called cortisol. Now, cortisol can actually be good for you as well because it helps you, it motivates you, it helps you achieve stuff. And without cortisol in your body, then you won't really be achieving stuff. But the problem that's happened is we have exchanged that caveman mentality for now that we have work and family and very busy lives. We're actually running this response on a daily basis, regularly, many times a day for every part of our life. And that can be really unhealthy mentally as well as physically. Now, the opposite, or what we can do to downregulate all that, is really to get our body into the parasympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic response. Now, I think of parasympathetic. I can always struggle to remember it. So I think of peace. So it restores calm and, breathing. There's so many good breathing techniques out there, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. Whichever technique, if you do it, probably works best. Just be aware that you're breathing correctly. So you're breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth, and making sure that your belly actually goes in and out, and that ensures that you're actually breathing from your diaphragm and you're getting the most out of your breathing. Now, a good way if you're feeling really stressed is you can breathe in for a count of anywhere from 4 to 8 depending on your lung capacity, and you can breathe out for the same amount of time. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and then breathe out like this. Now, if you're feeling particularly stressed, breathe out for longer than you're breathing in. So breathe in for 4, breathe out for 8. Okay, now that breathing out really puts you in the peace mode, parasympathetic mode. Another way is, if no one's around to hear this, you can do what I call the letting the air out of the balloon. So you can go like this. Give it a try with me. I needed that. After all that camera mix up and everything is starting. So I hope you're feeling a bit more relaxed now. Now, what else can we do? Look, starting and ending your day on a positive note. That that really works wonders for making sure that that you are less sort of feeling stressed and overwhelmed and overloaded. Anything from breathing, like we just talked about, stretching, a quick meditation. I do meditation for the time poor, so I take like just even a couple of minutes in the morning to do a quick meditation, set my intentions for the day, for a positive day, think about some of the things that I'm going to be doing, and make your bed. Apparently, making your bed has been shown to give you a more productive day and make you actually achieve more. So there you go. Now in the evening, same routine, along with all the other stuff you may do, read, watch TV, whatever. But something you can also incorporate is called gratitude. Gratitude is, it can be just as simple as thinking of 3 things that make you happy or that you're grateful for in the day. You don't even have to write them down, but if you do have a journal and you like journaling, you can journal, or you can just mentally list them off. Gratitude has been shown to make you feel more positive, less stressed, sleep better, and people that practice gratitude actually have a better quality of life. Right, so now, what other ways can we actually declutter our minds? Set priorities. Now, endless to-do lists don't really work. So I know we all love writing lots and lots of lists, but sometimes writing lots of lists, like long lists, have the opposite effect, and they can even make you feel more stressed and make you feel really down on yourself and not actually achieving things and pushing it to the next day and the next day. But the good thing about writing a long list is that it gets you to figure out what your top priorities are and some of the stuff that's not important that you can possibly cull. And once you have your top priorities, you can then look at setting some meaningful and actionable steps around them. Now, I also like to make sure that my priorities in any given day and given week focus around, I call the triangle. So one side of the triangle is work. So that can be work at home, work at work, schoolwork, study, any sort of thing, that housework, anything that involves work. Then on the other side of the triangle, I have relationships. That's relationships with other people, social, your social life, etc. And at the top of the triangle is health. Now, if you are focusing so much during the week, for example, on hitting your deadlines for work, then do make sure that the other parts of the day, like the evenings and the weekends, are spent balancing yourself by focusing then on relationships and health. So you don't need to, if you can't fit exercise in every single day, just do your best and just make sure that you're leading a balanced life in any given week. And also ask yourself some of these questions now within reason, okay? Because if your boss asks you to do something, you can't exactly just say no, I'm not going to do it. So ask yourself: is this something that I really want to have, or really want to do? Now, it's you, as in, do you really want to do it? Not somebody else, and not what you see maybe someone doing on Facebook. So if people are posting, go to the gym all the time or jogging 10 kilometers, I mean, that doesn't need to make it to your list. Okay. And it doesn't need to clutter your mind and make you feel like you're not achieving. So other things you can do is ask yourself, will it make me more happy or content? And be honest, and do learn to say no. I mean, that's been one of my sort of things throughout life, learning to say no and overcommitting. I was a real classic overcommitter, and don't feel guilty. That I know that is an easy thing to say, but observe when you are feeling the guilt, and maybe just talk to yourself and say to yourself, look, I'm feeling guilty, but I'm going to put that aside now, and I'm still going to do what's good for myself. I actually see a lot of clients and deal with clients on guilt. So it's certainly an issue that a lot of us have been living with since we were kids, really, and it's pretty normal in some ways to be having guilt issues. And ask yourself, okay, what would I like instead? And be your own champion. If nobody else is going to be your champion, you be your own champion. And stick up for yourself and treat yourself well. Hello to all the other people that are joining in. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you can follow along as you've logged in. Now, please feel free. Any questions, any feedback, just jot them down, and I'll keep an eye on that, and I'll definitely answer them for you. Now, of the things that you really can't cull on your list, it's a really good idea then to identify the problem areas. So what are the things that you can't cull that you have to do, that you've kind of nicely snuck into that too hard basket, and it's kind of been sitting there for a long time? So you can ask yourself, what's stopping me? Is there another way around it? You can break things down to more manageable sort of proportions by asking yourself, look, what's one thing that I can do today to help me achieve that? Or what are 3 small things that I can do that will help me get one step closer towards achieving that? And look, if all else fails, don't be afraid to outsource if you can. Outsource to someone else that can do it. Ask somebody, to run the idea through with, or get some help. Get some help from a counselor or a coach to help you be more accountable and motivated. So there's some tips on how you can sort of reduce that, that overwhelm and everything that's sort of floating around that in that mind of yours. Now, multitasking. A lot of us, especially women, pride themselves on being pretty good at multitasking. But here's the thing, guys: multitasking doesn't really work. Studies have shown that it's not really that effective, and it's actually much more effective to just focus on one thing at a time. What does work, however, is working smarter. So not multitasking, but working smarter. And some ideas from around the home is to, cooking, obviously, that's an easy one, and preparing meal prepping. So cooking larger portions, freezing portions to bring out for another day, buying a little bit more in bulk so you've got stuff, and not toilet paper, guys, okay? Not toilet paper. That's not what I'm talking about. And prepping ahead of time and planning. If I am in the kitchen, then I will prep for lunch boxes. I'll prep for the pets sort of meals as well as our meals, as much as if I've got everything out there, that I'm going to do everything that I can to sort of make things a little bit easier for myself. Now, if finances are okay, what I also do is for people's birthdays and special occasions, I go out and I'll do a shop, and I'll buy all the birthday cards and all the presents I need for, say, the next 2 to 3 months. So that way I've actually got them there, and I don't need to rush out every single time, to go get a card and go get presents and stuff like that. Now, with washing clothes, even, there's an easy one. You can quite simply, I actually fold my washing straight off the line, and I also hang things on the line with hangers. So that saves on having to refold clothes later on, and it certainly saves on ironing, because I absolutely can't stand ironing. So, that just makes things so much easier. Now, on the work front, okay, emails. All right, having emails, checking your emails all the time can be really, really unproductive. So set some time, maybe 3 times a day, and make a point of checking your emails then. If you can, maybe even switch off notifications if that's something that you is possible to do. And also, I know most of you'll say, oh, I don't check my Facebook at work, but we probably do. So, keeping social media and checking all that, or maybe switching off your notifications, is a good way of making sure that you're focusing on doing what you do at work and what you need to do. And prioritizing, okay, guys, prioritizing is the other thing that's always going to be really important. Now, meetings at work are huge time zappers. I mean, they can be productive, but they can also be really big time zapping when they go on for too long. Now, some companies are actually adopting the stand-up approach to meetings, because apparently if you're standing up, then you're not inclined to want to drag the meeting out. So if you do have any influence over meetings at work, maybe try some of those tips, but try and keep your meetings to minimum and as short as possible. Now, also get up, move around, change the scenery regularly every hour. It will just help you to get more in control of your mind and not feel so overwhelmed. Hello to everyone else that's joining. Thank you so much for joining in. Okay, so limiting the information that's coming in, all right? So at any given day, even here, like, okay, we're social distancing, we're staying at home, but we live in the internet age, so we have a lot of information coming in that needs to be processed. Watching the news, reading newspapers, and social media, of course. That all contributes, that 50,000 bits of information. Well, that's a lot of contributing to a lot of stuff that's coming in and hitting you at any given time. So if you've got the time for it, that's fine. But if other days when you've got a lot on your plate and you know that you've got a lot that you want to sort of do, then just limit the buzz and all the noise around you, and go off grid every now and again. Go off grid and just, switch off. That is so therapeutic. Now, simplifying your life. Okay, KISS, KISS, the acronym. Who can tell me? Does anyone know what that stands for? Anyone? Okay. KISS, keep it simple. And I think it's stupid, but I prefer to say keep it simple, silly. Now, that can really help you. Decluttering, living in clutter. Okay, now we're talking about decluttering the mind, but we need to also talk about decluttering physically. Now, if you live in clutter, if you're one of those sort of messy, people that like sort of keeping everything and not getting rid of everything, then that can have an effect on your mind as well. Because if you're living in that sort of surroundings, then you're going to feel overwhelmed. And in the home and the office as well, if you aren't going to be able to find things quickly, or if you're rummaging through things or looking through washing to find like something to wear, like for work, that's obviously gonna affect you. So start small, start really small if this is something that that you need to work on, and pick just one area, even your desk. If we had a Marie Kondo, I think she's still on Netflix, and she is the decluttering queen. So she uses shoe boxes and all sorts of storage, things to create storage and really to declutter. Now in my house, that's an absolute must. I need to do it because I've got 3 kids, and they just, pull things out all the time. There's Lego, there's scissors, there's all sorts of stuff lying around the house at any given time. So now, okay, I'd like to also say don't bite off more than you can chew. All right. So don't overcommit, and outsource where you can. So take entertaining, for example. I love entertaining when we were able to entertain. And I used to be one of those people that just had to put on a fancy spread and do everything, really nice and perfect and lots of food. And, I've really scaled down now. And it's just been wonderful. The last time we had sort of a big party was my son's birthday in February, and I was actually able to sit down and spend so much time talking to all the people. It was absolutely fantastic. They had food, they had drinks, they had everything they needed, and no one complained. We actually all had a really good time. Okay, now as we wrap up this session, just a couple more things that I'd like to draw your attention to. Now, focusing on the now, that's a really big thing. And, who amongst us spends a lot of time sort of thinking about the past and reliving the past and, thinking of ways that we could have done things differently, or really, thinking about the future. That's the opposite. Worrying about the future, when I do this, when I get older, when I win the lottery. We all do that, don't we? So thinking about, putting yourself in a situation where you're actually mindfully being aware of living sort of now can be so beneficial for you. I'm actually writing a book at the moment. Yeah, I know, another thing to throw into the busyness, but I'm actually writing a book, and it's really, really fascinating stuff to be researching. And it's about finding happiness and how other people and places around the world achieve this. So one of the key takeaways one of the key things that keeps popping up with a lot of these countries that are known for being like particularly happy and have a good quality of life is that they don't dwell. So they are more capable, and they have sort of practices in place that help them to let go of situations and to not worry so much about the future. I know it's not easy. But there are ways around it that I can help you with as well. Smiling, learning to smile and laugh every day leads to a much healthier mind. So if you can find things, the joke and the humor in life, and the funny side of things, that'll really take you a long way. And of course, practicing gratitude, like we spoke about earlier. And I came across a little saying the other day that really sort of resonated with me as well. And it goes like this. It's very short. Expect nothing and appreciate everything. And, that is so valuable. We all expect so much from ourselves and from other people as well. And then that just sets us up for disappointment and getting annoyed and frustrated. So, don't expect so much, and appreciate everything that comes your way. And to finish, we're going so well for time, 7:31. Uh, I'd like to just end this by saying, don't be so hard on yourself, and don't be so hard on others. Give yourselves a break, guys. Um, you know, just remember that we are all doing the best we can with what we've got. So, sometimes you just got to kind of give yourself a pat on the back and say, well done. I've done the best I can with the resources that I have at this stage. And sometimes that's going to have to be sort of good enough. Now, I think that covers all the content that I wanted to bring to you. I hope you find that really helpful and beneficial. Does anybody have any questions around that? Any questions, guys? Okay. All right. If we don't have any questions, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me this evening. I really appreciate your time, and it's been wonderful. Even though I can't see you, I can see who's there, and I've really appreciated you logging in. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a great evening and have a great week. Whatever happens next week, things are changing all the time. Stay well and take care. Bye for now. Bye bye.